It's the 12th of October and it's time for the 12th film in my 31 Horrors of Mike. I got up specifically to do this review because yes, I still have the plague. Anyway, this is the first film on my list which was actually suggested to me by one of my subscribers, one of my favourite YouTubers, Patimus. She requested that I review the film Castle Freak. I'll leave a link to her channel down below. Definitely go and check that out because she's a great YouTuber, does some very informative and funny vlogs, so go and check out her channel. Anyway, so the film that she requested that I look at was Castle Freak. Now, it was released in 1995. It was a straight-to-video release through Full Moon Pictures, and it was directed by Stuart Gordon. Stuart Gordon is a director who I know quite well. I've seen most of his films, not all, but most. And Castle Freak was always kind of maybe on my to-do list, but I wasn't that aware of it, to be perfectly honest. On watching it, I think that I've maybe seen clips from it here or there, but I certainly had never watched the whole thing from beginning to end. And I have to say, I was really impressed with it, and I don't know why I would be surprised by that, because like I say, Stuart Gordon is a really consistent director. Stuff is of a consistent quality. The film is an adaptation, or a loose adaptation, of an H.P. Lovecraft story called The Outsider, which is one of my favourite Lovecraft stories. I actually narrated the story on this channel about a year ago. You probably find that in the videos, wherever the videos are. I don't know what I'm doing here. And it's about a family who are in the wake of a terrible tragedy. They've lost their young son in a terrible accident, and at the same time they have also inherited a castle in Italy, because the father, played by Jeffrey Combs, finds out that he's actually the last remaining person in that family line, and of duchesses and of royalty basically, or noble blood. And he has been told that he can come and live in this castle, and I think he looks on it as a new beginning for him and his family. There's him and his wife, who's played by Barbara Crampton, and their daughter, and they decide to move to Italy because it'll be a new beginning for him. Now the daughter is blind, and it's fairly obvious from the beginning why they've made her a blind character. A little bit too on the nose for me personally, but I can understand why they did that. But anyway, they get to the castle in this small Italian town, and they realise that there is in fact someone still living there, lurking in the darkness. And that's really the story, and it's linked to Jeffrey Combs' character's family history. So there are a few skeletons in the cupboard that he has to find out about as the film continues, and he's a really troubled man. The whole family is in crisis because the father was actually involved in the son's death, so the wife has never forgiven him, and the daughter just wants the two of them to make up and make things normal again, but that seems to be almost impossible. So that's really the story of it. I don't want to say any more, I don't want to really ruin it, but it is quite a simple tale. I mean, I have to say that it's obviously a low production film, because they use sort of like one or two locations and that's it, but I have to say they use them very well. The castle's not your typical Hammer-esque castle, and I don't mean a castle owned by MC Hammer. Sorry, that was a terrible joke. It's not your typical Gothic castle. It's very, very much Italian, and it's it looks quite it's almost like a huge villa actually, more than anything else. And the town is very much this sort of old Italian place where you can see that the walls and the pavements and the roads have been were created and built a long time ago, so it gives the film a bit of atmosphere, but it doesn't really use many locations. But where it does seem to have spent most of the money is in the creature effects that are in the film for the thing that lurks in the dark, and I have to say the makeup effects are fantastic. A little bit disappointed that they actually show you the creature on the front cover, because they go to great lengths to hide what the creature looks like until the end, and at one point it's wearing this horrible death shroud, which adds like another sort of level of creepiness to it. And there's also a lot of gore, so if you like that sort of thing, then this film's for you. It's not torture porn or anything like that. I think it does service the film, it does service the story, so I'm totally fine with that. It's when you get films where they're just being violent for violence sake that I'm kind of turned off by that, but in this case, no, it's absolutely fine. Stuart Gordon films normally do have a bit of gore to them, but like I say, they always seem to serve the story, and that's what's important. Jeffrey Combs, Barbara Crampton, both of them have been in a bunch of Stuart Gordon films and both of them are excellent. Jeffrey Combs is such a great actor. He, along with Bruce Campbell, are really the two B-movie actors that Hollywood just completely missed the boat with. I mean, they should have been huge stars, but instead they had to just keep playing the B-movie circuit, and I think that's a shame. I think they really should have been A-list stars, because they're just brilliant. But Jeffrey Combs especially is just fantastic in this film. He gives a really, really great agonising performance here as a tortured father, and also an alcoholic. Yeah, I was surprised actually by how sort of creepy the film was in places. I didn't really expect that. You know, because you don't really think of Reanimator and films like that as being, Stuart Gordon's other films, as being necessarily creepy. They're more sort of like fun creature flicks, but while this is still a creature feature in many ways, they really do, they bring in elements of the slasher genre to play out the way that the outsider behaves, and I think that really adds a level of like a different way of scaring your audience, basically. Sorry, my mind's really not working right now, so I don't seem to be able to speak properly. But yeah, thanks Patmos for recommending it. Really enjoyed it. I don't think it's Stuart Gordon's best film necessarily, but I think it's one that really surprised me. I really, really enjoyed it. When it started off, I was kind of like, this is a bit hokey, but as the film went on, it just totally wasn't. And I'd be interested to know what they shot it on. I mean, I watched it online. Shh, don't tell anyone. So like it could have been to do with that, but it looked almost as if it was like sort of 16mm. I think it was probably 35mm that it was shot on, but it definitely had the aesthetic of like a low budget Italian horror movie, and I think maybe that's why some of it was familiar to me. But like I say, definitely recommended. Go watch it. Thank you very much for recommending it to me, Patmos. Go and check out Patmos's YouTube channel down below. I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully a little bit more with it than I am right now. And keep suggesting films, because there's still plenty of October to go. So if there are other films you want me to watch, I'm just every night, every day I'm watching like a couple of horror films as I go, to see if I can find anything else to sort of freshen up my list. I've already got a list drawn up. I drew that up in September, but like I say, it's fun to sort of chop and change, and I watched a film actually just the other night which I've thrown into the list, and I've got another film which was requested by someone which I watched that specifically for this as well, and that's already in the list. So if you've got any recommendations, let me know. I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully being more concise and more insightful. So hope you're all having a good weekend, and I will see you all soon. Bye for now.